Is this on? Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Welcome to the December Environmental Commission meeting. I guess we'll start with the roll call.
Okay. Commission Chair Kramer.
Present.
Commission Vice Chair O'Connor.
Here.
Commissioner Parker.
Here.
Commissioner Switzler.
Here.
Commissioner Bruner.
Here.
And Commissioner Wick.
Here.
Let the record show that we have a quorum with 6 commissioners present and Commissioner Fletcher absent.
Okay, great. Would anyone like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Thank you. And do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
Okay, and do we have any oral communications?
No oral communications.
Okay, then I guess we can go to our presentation. And we have Scott Horst from Street Stewards. Thanks so much for meeting with us and educating us, Scott. Welcome.
Thank you very much. First off, thank you to Mark and John for showing so much interest in our program. This should say Street Stewards. I went up to LA today and I brought extra clothes and I grabbed the wrong polo. But it kind of speaks to, my family's been in the garment cleaning business since the late 1800s. And we're the nation's largest high-end dry cleaner. So cleaning's in my blood is kind of how it ties into it. Okay. All right, so. Okay, so here's a picture of our new website, which we're still working on, okay? It will have an automatic block adoption, which we don't currently have. Right now, it's you write in to us, and Aaron goes in, the founder, and colors it in on a map. Well, we want to do this across the nation. There's 3,000 counties in the United States, and so far we're in 10 communities. So we need to automate what we're doing. That's one of the main things. Okay. Here's a picture of 4 of our maps. We're in 10 communities, but starting on the left-hand side, that is Ocean Beach. All that green is adopted. Pacific Beach is next to it. Again, the same thing. North Park, very similar. Escondido, we started about 2 years after all of these. And if you were to put all these maps together, they wouldn't be the size of Escondido. You know, it's much more spread out. But it shows, these are 4 communities that we've had very, very strong participation in. This is a map that kind of shows more the downtown area. It's showing Ocean Beach and PB and then North Park, and it shows all this area that's has no adoptions. And we're working hard on that right now, and I'll get to that. These are some photos of our Escondido group. This program has gone so well in Escondido. It's just, and the guy in the very bottom right-hand corner on the very bottom picture, that's Mike, our captain in Escondido, who is just doing gangbusters. I started it, and I realized there was no way I could do the national program, and I asked Mike, would you mind taking it over? And he's just rolled with it. Okay. All right, so a bit about our timeline. We were founded in 2018 by Aaron Knoll and some of his friends. They just got frustrated with all the litter they would see, especially after the tourists. So they went in and they went on Facebook and set up a map and say, please write and adopt. Within 9 months, 75% of the community was adopted. It was crazy how well it went and how fast it went. Pacific Beach said, please, can we do the same thing? Okay. In 2019, then we launched a website, and streetstewards.com is the website. I discovered in 2020, I was already doing my own stuff up there on a much smaller basis, and I discovered this app, and I'm like, oh my God, this website, this is what we got to do. So in 2020, I brought it to Escondido, and then basically joined as co-director with Aaron. 2021, I established a captain's program along with monthly group pickups. Now usually twice per month in Escondido, and our typical group size is 10 to 20, but we've led 200 plus volunteer groups for partner organizations in Escondido. In 2022, I funded the nonprofit, the 501c3, to establish that. You know, I'm in my early 60s, and the guys that started this are in their early 40s, and I said, guys, let me fund this, let's get this going, and it's just rolling so well. In 2023, we did our own Caltrans adoption at the 15 North via Rancho Parkway exit. In 2024 was a real big year for us. We received $35,000 in NRP grants. I met Jim Desmond at a Rotary meeting in 2023, and he says you ought to apply for NRP grants, and that's what we did, and we've received it from 3 different districts, districts 3, 4, and 5. So besides automating the website, right now we have individual community maps, but we don't have all of the county map. The website will do that. July 13th, we had our first downtown San Diego second Saturday pickup. Mayor Gloria was there, Councilmember Whitburn was there, and we had 70 plus attendees. They spoke, they also picked up litter, and we'll be doing our 4th pickup down there this coming Saturday. We're now approaching about 1,000 adoptions in 10 communities, some with over 75% coverage as I've shown. Our target is in 2026 to have a nationwide program with a phone app. Phone apps are not cheap things. I was surprised how much a phone app is to do it right. You got to do it for Apple, you got to do it for Android, and then you have a website that matches it. And those designers take 6 months to a year to do it, each one, and those designers make a lot of money. So, we've got the money to get the website going. Of course, we don't have the money to do the phone app, but that's our big picture. Okay. Escondido progress. So our distribution list is now over 100 people. Our adoptions are up 35% since we did a 200-plus volunteer in February of this year. We support other groups. That's one great thing you want to do about this. You want to tie in with other groups, the Rotary, all different types of, I Live a Clean San Diego. You tie in, you work with them, and it just keeps growing. We're also working with youth organizations for students to achieve community service hours, okay? 2023, we had 19 group litter pickups throughout the year. In 2024, we will have 24. And that's just the street steward side. There's also a Rotary side that has other pickups also too. Our Facebook page in Escondido has 316 followers. December 23, we launched our Instagram account. We now have 170 followers. August 7th, our core group of volunteers that have been doing this for 4 years were recognized by the Escondido City Council, by Mayor White, who's also a street steward, by the way. He has his own adoption. And August 10th was proclaimed Escondido Street Stewards Day with a ceremony and 25 volunteers. We picked up litter downtown. So our new website, I mentioned we're going to map all of San Diego County. We're going to automate the adoption process. We're going to have each adopter is going to have their own profile on this site. You'll be able to log in on your phones when working the adoption to keep the map current. So right now, we've had people write in and say, I'm going to adopt it. Well, we have no way of knowing 2 years later, are they still doing it? Are they still here? They may have moved out of town. We don't have that mechanism. This will give us that mechanism because you'll log in and you'll say, I've done my pickup. Well, if you don't do it for maybe 3 or 6 months, the color on the map will change. This will give us a website that's going to be much more accurate than what it is currently now. Now, we know that most people are still out there picking up litter because we see the results. So again, we'll use a color-coded system to identify street health. There's going to be ability to post photos and commentary on the site and social media. We're going to have metrics. I've learned in working nonprofits, metrics are very, very, very important. Right now, we're going to start with mileage and percentage adopted within a community. Down the road, we're going to probably be adding, poundage type of thing. It will be an estimate basis. We're not going to ask people to weigh their trash that they're picking up or count individual items. There will be a leader dashboard. So it'll say this person has done the most pickups this month. This community has done the most pickups this month. Another key thing is a donate function. We've already got that set up, and that's working well. It is expected to launch by the year-end 2024. Well, that's creeping up pretty quick. I do believe we'll, worst case, have it up by the end of January. So Captains Program. So the captains promote the program within their community through social media, community organization events, and league group pickups. Each community needs 2 to 3 captains long-term to share the workload and feed off each other's energy. You can start the program with 1, But if you're going to do second Saturdays every month, nobody can attend every second Saturday. We all have things we have to do. So that's why you want to have several captains. And Encinitas is already, from what I hear, like 4 captains are ready to go. The captains can also speak at other organizations, and I'm more than willing to speak at other organizations. I'll be speaking to the Rotary in Encinitas. I think we pushed it out till May or June of this year, unfortunately, because of our calendars not matching. But, and would love to speak at other organizations in town. We're going to provide the captains with pickers. I'm going to give you at least 20 litter pickers. I'm going to give you safety gear. We have yellow long sleeve T-shirts. I'm going to give everybody that shows up to the first pickup will get one, and I'm going to give John and Mark some more that they can hand out as it grows. We'll give you bags and gloves and stuff like that to start it. I can't support that forever, but I can start you with it and get it going. You might want to consider the Caltrans adoption. That's a great anchor organization, an anchor thing to have. And what we have in Escondido is we have a sign that says, 2 of them, that says Street Stewards has a Caltrans adoption. New community captains programs. So downtown San Diego, we got a call from Eric Dargan, who's the COO of the city of San Diego. I think it was like February or March of last year. He just looked up Adopt a Block and found us. We went down and met with him, and he is championing us amazingly well. The way this works best is if you work beside the city. If you work through the city, it gets much, much more complicated. There's permits, there's liability, there's all this stuff. So we don't go to the city for money. We don't go to the city for tools, but we work besides them. And it really, really works out well. It's worked out great in Escondido. It's worked out great in downtown. And, that's how we're doing it. Our downtown captains are Emily McGovern and Carlos McCrae, who actually works for Eric. So they're very well tied with us, but Eric's I've learned from Eric is that you don't ask for these things. You just do it independently. We've had our 3 second Saturday pickups, and we're now going to have our 4th one this Saturday. So in Encinitas, Mark reached out to me a few months ago, and John has been communicating with quite a bit over the last month or so. And you divided the community into different zones, which is an amazing thing. That could work out great. As I've expressed, I think what you want to do is start off as one group. And then as it grows, then if you want to divide it into different quadrants, you can do that. So you guys are already collecting the adoptions. They have a spreadsheet that they're already collecting, waiting for us to get this website up, so that each person will then go in and do their own adoption. Our first second Saturday group pickup is 111 next year at 8:30. We're going to meet at Panikins, and I'm going to give the litter pickers. Like I said, I'm going to give everything, get you guys started. I'll be there. I will speak, and we'll get the ball going. And that's great. I did that in under 10 minutes. So, what questions do you guys have?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I think it's great. I love what you're doing. I like the idea of working beside the city. I can see where that would make a big difference. I have a question about the Caltrans adoptions.
Sure.
How much is that? It costs money, right?
No. In fact, we used to get paid to do it.
I'm sorry?
We used to get paid to do it. We used to get a stipend. The Caltrans had a budget, and we were getting paid $250 each time we went to do it, okay? But that money ran out.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean we're stopping. We're still doing it. The Rotary had the same thing.
But so
ours is, you typically do it at a cloverleaf, is where both of ours are at. Okay. You can do it along the side of the freeway, but we found the cloverleafs work really well. And the Rotary one, their cloverleaf is a high traffic of unhoused.
Wow.
So we're going in there pretty monthly, and we're cleaning up large piles of stuff. But the Rotary is a much bigger organization than Street Stewards is. Street Stewards, we started out smaller. Ours is a smaller one, doesn't have the unhoused community going there. We actually go in there probably once every 3 months and do it, because we want to do other things around the community too. They want you to do it every month. But if you handle it right, and you talk to them, say, hey, we're going to keep this clean. They'll work with you on that. And I can guide you to the right people to talk to get that going. They will supply you with extra litter pickers. I mean, the ones I'm going to give you are going to be branded Street Stewards ones, but they're the 32-inch long one, the ones you see on the freeways with the black rubber and the metal bands, and those are the ones you want. I'll give you some, but if you do a Caltrans adoption, they'll give you more. The other thing is you have to wear a hard hat to do theirs. And there's your captains get safety trained. You go and get safety trained by the Caltrans organization. And on those, you actually have to write them ahead and say, we're going to pick up litter on this date. Now, they may say, oh, you can't do that date because we've got a work crew doing something in that. So it's all, you organize with them to do it. But it works actually very, very smoothly. It works very smoothly.
And my last question really is just, the date, the second Saturdays don't work for me. And so I can pick a spot on my walk, my normal walk.
There's two parts of the program. There is the adoption, that's what the great thing to do is say, I'm going to keep this clean. And you do those whenever you want. That's based upon people wanting to go out and walk their dogs, get exercise. It's more of an individual thing. And, you don't have to adopt, but it sure is nice to have those adoptions to show that map, and then you control that area and you've got it maintained. The second Saturdays can also be different days. It's just something we found, let's pick a regular day every month. And I just came up with second Saturday, and it's kind of stuck real well, but that can change. And again, the individuals, you can go out and do whatever you want. It doesn't matter when you do it.
One of the captains wants to do a Sunday, so it's very flexible.
Very. Yeah. Saturdays are typically a little better because you don't have the religious conflicts you usually have on Sunday. And you want to do it fairly early, especially as it gets warmer. I would recommend when it gets summer, I'd recommend you start at 8 because it starts to get warm out there. Now, on the coast, it's a little better here than it is in Escondido, but it's still, people like to get it done early, and then their day's done. And the nice thing about Saturday morning is you've done your community service. The rest of the weekend, you feel like you've done what you need to do for the community, and the rest of the weekend is yours to enjoy.
I'm just curious about the quantity of trash that's typically picked up. Is there any permission or anything needed to dispose of it, or do the captains just take responsibility and...
What you're going to do is we're going to have to arrange with the city to pick this up. You're going to leave, in Escondido, there's what's called the Reported app, and that's how they want us to do it. So with the Caltrans, we let them know, and they come pick it up. We report it to the Caltrans. With the non-Caltrans stuff, we go on the Reported app in Escondido, and we report it, and they come pick it up. Sometimes it takes a few days. Sometimes it can take a couple weeks. You never know, but they're actually very good at getting it, and they always get it. I don't know if Encinitas has that type of app. But
yeah,
if
that
not,
was one of the questions I had for him, because I'm like, okay, what do I do with 20 bags of trash? But I'm going to look into it. Mark's got some people we can poke, so.
yeah, your community service department, they'll gladly
something.
help you out. And that's how we're doing it downtown. It's not through an app. We're working directly with the city, and they're coming to pick it up.
And maybe even Crystal, does anything ring a bell on that from the city side?
We have the My Encinitas app, and that you can report, generally can be used to report trash that needs to be picked up. Since this is an organization I'd have to look into that a little more to see if there's any extra, thing we need to do around that. But there is that app that could be used. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd want to talk with them first and organize it, and then you figure out how they want you to report it.
So to cover all of OB, it looked like almost every street was covered. Do you have any idea how many people are involved, or what's the average amount?
We have that data. I don't
Yeah.
have it in my head.
Okay.
But right now we're about 1,000 volunteers across the county.
Okay. I guess I'm just trying to think if we were to try to cover everywhere in Encinitas, how many people could we estimate that would be? Or
I don't know.
like that?
It depends on how
okay.
big of an adoption they're going to do, and you're never going to get it 100% adopted.
Yeah.
So you're going to get your housing streets adopted. You're not going to get probably main roads adopted. Mm-hmm. That's where these second Saturdays work really well, and you have the visibility, and then people say, what the heck are they doing? And then they ask about it, and then they find out about you.
Cool.
So I've personally got 3 neighbors, and we go from Moonlight Beach to Leucadia Boulevard, Neptune to the 101, and it just changes routes, who does what day of the week. It's all just different. We barely ever see each other doing it at the same time, but that whole area now is greened out on the map.
And you don't have to stay on the streets. You want to do a trail? You can map that out on the map. You want to do a beach? You can map that out on the map. And at some point, what it's going to be is your name, if you want it, is going to be displayed there on the map in your area. That's down the road, but we'll get to that. And also businesses can do that too. And that's a nice publicity thing for businesses. The PB is set up that way where we have businesses that adopt it. We use a different color for that. And we'll work that into the website as we can.
Speaking of trails and non-street environments, are there kind of limits to what can get picked up? I'm thinking of dog poop.
So
For Encinitas, some parts of Encinitas.
it's a personal choice. I have a hard time leaving anything behind. And you want to be safe. Now, the other thing you have to keep in mind is that, like broken glass, that's a tough one because you got to keep in mind that somebody is going to be picking up that bag after you've filled it. Okay. Now, I do pick up broken glass, to be honest. I put it in the middle of the bag. I make sure it's kind of safe. The other thing you do is you can maybe have somebody carry like a Home Depot bucket as a safety thing to say, hey, can we put this in there? Personally, I would pick up the dog poo and put it in the bag, but wait, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I would pick up somebody that left their plastic bag of dog poo. I wouldn't pick up that laying there. So cigarettes are a challenge. Sometimes it's just, you can't, but sometimes you can. Sometimes you can. You want to be, let's say you find a gun. No, we never have. But that's kind of Caltrans training, or you find a knife. That's something you want to report. There can be dangerous liquids you don't know about. And so you kind of have to be careful with that. And that stuff you can work with the city and report it to the city. And say, hey, could you please come and get it? You'll find bigger objects, bumpers, stuff like that. Just put those along with the pile. Just drag them over and put them along with the pile of trash bags, filled trash bags.
Thank you. That was really
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you. I'm very excited to see Encinitas get going. That'll be our third big community doing the captain's program, and this organization is ready to explode. As soon as I get the website done, we start to get major news press, we're ready to really map out this entire county. And San Diego is America's finest city. An interesting fact was Forbes had an article in 2019. And it rated the cleanest cities in America and the dirtiest cities in America. And that was a very weird kind of how they figured this out. But the cleanest city in America, surprisingly, was Long Beach, California. The second cleanest city in America was San Diego, California, which is kind of surprising to me. But with this program, we will be the cleanest county in America. Cleanest city in America, too.
I was going to add Mayor Ehlers knows about it, and he cleans up his streets in Olivenhain where he lives, so hopefully we'll get his streets screened out here soon, too. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, Scott.
No problem. I'll excuse myself, and we'll be talking soon, okay? Thanks, guys.
Okay, would anyone like to approve October's meeting minutes? I was not present, so I would like to make a motion.
Sure, I'll move to approve the October meeting minutes.
and second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. And would like to say we have no informational items, so moving on to action items. So we're going to do the work plan update. Okay, thanks, Crystal.
Good evening, Commissioners. So as we typically do, I will go over your work plan and the updates for each of the individual projects. And I'll just go over what happened since the last time that we met. And in your packet, those items are the things that were highlighted in red.
Thank you. Even with these
I couldn't even
glasses,
read
I was
it.
having trouble
Let's see.
reading that.
Okay, so for commission outreach and representation, wanted to mention that the first Street Stewards event, what we just heard the presentation on, has been scheduled for January 11th, 2025. That was shared with us, and it'll be at 8:30 a.m. if anyone would like to attend. The location is to be determined, so I would say if you are interested, reach out to the presenter and they can provide the
Well,
location.
reach out to me because
Oh, okay.
so I'm organizing it, but we do have a location. We do want to keep it to 20-ish people, so between the 5 captains, but of course, commissioners, you guys get first dibs, so reach out to me if you're available and want to. We'll be at the Panikin in Leucadia. We got a little loop planned out, so I'll send out a Google invite, but yeah, we're trying to keep it a little bit small so that we don't, raise any issues.
All righty, moving on, environmental awards program. So this is the month that the work on this project should be initiated. So the commissioners that are assigned, just be advised that you should be thinking about beginning to advertise for the awards. So putting together that press release and seeking nominations this month. So if you want to prepare that draft press release, and I'd be happy to review it, and then we can pass it along to Lois for publishing.
I just wanted to say that I was at the awards ceremony last year, or earlier this year, and I just wanted to remind you guys that it really meant a lot to the recipients of the award. So I just want to, because I think that we, in the doing it, we kind of forget about that. But when we see the awards going out, the people were very, very happy. So just want to remind you guys.
Okay, and if you need any help, let me know, but I'm happy to review. Just a note on schedule, so the city is closed between Christmas Eve and New Year's Day, so next week would be an ideal time to provide me with a draft of the press release if you want me to review it, if you want it to get out before the holiday.
And then for just the business part, Carol, you've done that in the past. Do you still have a template to?
I think I did it last
Oh, you
time,
did
so
last time?
I'll make
Okay.
a run at it.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And when is the award ceremony? Did I miss that? Okay. Some to be determined date? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Spring.
It would be, it's up to your schedule. It's not a date certain. It would be up to when you've completed the selection process and you're ready to, present the awards. It would also be up to what council has on their tentative agenda as well. So yeah.
But what was the?
What was the date last year?
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact date, but it was, sometime in.
I thought it was in
Yeah.
April, wasn't it? March or April?
I
Yeah.
think we're going over the
Yeah.
calendar after this. Maybe it'll be on the
That needs to be in
calendar.
the press release.
Well, you might not know at that point in the press release because that'll be a couple months from now, and we don't know what is on the council's schedule. So, oh yes, certainly that date should be on the press release for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anything else on this topic? Okay, moving on to the native plant policy. So lots of activity here. So on October 23rd, council approved the professional services agreement for SWCA Environmental Consultants to head up the development of the policy. SWCA and city staff have already commenced the native plant ordinance work efforts, and they're finalizing the dates for the community outreach. To follow the project, staff is recommending that the public visit the native plant ordinance webpage on the city's website or sign up for e-notifications through the city's updates webpage.
Is that website pretty easy to find on the city's?
Yeah, they're both pretty easy. They were the paths for those were pretty lengthy, so that's why I didn't include them here. But I'm happy to provide them to you all separately if you can't find them on the city website. I'm sure if you just go on the site and on the search bar, if you just search for native plant policy or for the city updates page, they'll pop right up as the first item.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to mobility element update. The 45-day public review and comment period for the draft EIR began on September 6th, and on October 14th, staff presented the draft mobility element and the EIR to the Mobility and Traffic and Safety Commission. The draft EIR public review period had closed on October 21st, and there were actually no public comments received. And then staff presented the draft element and the EIR to Planning Commission on November 21st, and commissioners were provided with suggestions and revisions during that meeting. Staff is currently analyzing and incorporating suggestions and revisions to all of the commissions that they met with. And then the final mobility element is tentatively scheduled to be heard by City Council on February 26th.
And then with it being in our work plan, is there a presentation to us at some point?
Yeah,
Are we
that
an
was
integral part of
done
that, or-
in September. Sorry, I skipped that part because that was from the prior update.
Okay.
So, yeah, Evan was
Yeah, I
here.
remember somebody
Oh,
presenting.
that's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah. And then moving on to the Climate Action Plan update. On October 16th, City Council approved a staff request to increase the budget allocation for the CAP update to conduct some additional analysis. And that additional analysis is in process, and consultants have also begun to work on the implementation cost analysis with input from city staff. So that work on the update is moving along swiftly now that we have the additional budget we needed.
Crystal, would you mind providing a little bit of information about the additional analyses that are being
Yeah,
conducted?
sure. Yeah, so the main thing that the analysis was needed for was that initially when we first came up with a list of draft measures, all of those combined were not actually meeting the target that we had set, the 2030 and 2045 target. So we came up with a few additional measures or modifications to existing measures that we thought might help us to achieve those targets. And so, as an example, one of them was to reevaluate the projects coming out of our active transportation plan. And we had been using old data to run the numbers on what level of emissions those projects might achieve. And so we got more current data that we were able to reevaluate the effectiveness of those projects. So that's one item. Another one was looking at building decarbonization and how we might be able to affect emissions reduction through doing an advanced building decarbonization program. So, so that's just kind of an example, but I am happy to report, again, this is preliminary, but in the last meeting that we had with the consultant, they did do the bulk of that analysis, and it is looking like now we are able to achieve our targets with the measures that we have drafted in the CAP. So that was really exciting news. So,
Thank you. That's helpful to have that info.
Where are we in the process of the CAP update too? Like, what's the next step after this analysis?
So the next step is the consultants we've got the kind of the final list of draft measures, and now they are starting to actually write the content for or update the text content, the text components, and the tables that were in our original CAP. So all of the analysis work the bulk of that has been done, and now we're working on the actual text. And then once that part is complete, we'll have a fully fleshed out draft with all of the draft measures and the draft document itself as well. And that will be, we're targeting kind of January, February sometime to get that draft out to the public for review. Yeah. All right. And then there was not a lot to report on the Green Building Incentive Program, so I'll jump to the Sand Compatibility and Opportunistic Use Program. So I wanted to share that the city's Coastal Zone Program Administrator is in the process of developing a formalized city policy for the SCOOP program. It's in early stages right now, but he does anticipate that potentially in early 2025, that he could, that would be a good time to meet with the commission subcommittee on this item and have a discussion on some of your ideas to potentially make improvements to the program. And then that would inform kind of the development of the draft policy. And then the draft policy could be presented to the Environmental Commission for review. And likely it would need probably a public workshop and some more public outreach as well. And then ultimately it could go to council for recommended adoption after that. So I'll be reaching out to, it looks like just Commissioner O'Connor is on this project. So if anyone else is interested, this might be a good time to jump on to be
I
participating.
like sand on our beaches.
I'd be interested.
Okay, so maybe in your motion, you could add that.
Yeah, I'd be interested as well, if nobody else is.
Okay.
Great.
Is there a max that you can be on? I forget.
There's
Okay.
not a max that any individual can be on, but there's a max of the number of commissioners that can be on each project to meet the Brown Act.
Right,
So
okay.
it's no more than 3 commissioners per project.
Got it.
Alrighty. So the next item I'll just jump down to that has an update is the food service plastics ordinance. So here I'll share that Commissioners Kramer and O'Connor have met with several business owners, the chamber, and 101 liaisons to discuss the proposed ordinance. And commissioners will continue to outreach to gather feedback prior to seeking council direction. And then if you both would like to add anything additional, please feel free.
Yeah, did we hear back on some of that?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
So we met with the Economic Development Strategy Working Group, which is organized by the city, and it includes the 101 liaisons and the Chamber of Commerce and a couple other representatives, I think from the Botanic Garden, maybe too. And we presented a draft online survey to food service providers, and they provided some good feedback on that so far, ways to streamline it and make it easier for food service providers to answer the online survey. So that was kind of the initial outreach step that we will engage in. And then the thought process is we could gather that information from the food service providers about kind of like some of the challenges and opportunities that would arise from this ordinance being passed, and then present that to city council and then see what they want to do. If they want to proceed, then we can kind of move forward with more public engagement that's like a little more labor intensive, like workshops and things like that.
Did we have a target date to send that survey out? I forget what we discussed.
I don't think we
After
do.
the
Probably after the
holidays?
holidays. Yeah. What do you think,
Yeah, I
Crystal?
would probably do that.
Yeah.
Good.
But we got really good feedback during the meeting from the chamber and the 101 liaisons, and it seems like there's a lot of opportunity to collaborate there, that there's willingness to engage.
Okay, great. And then the last project is the environmentally preferable purchase and contracting policy. And in September, the subcommittee on this met to discuss possible amendments to the policy. And then the next step is that they plan to consolidate their ideas and meet with city staff to further refine possible amendments. And that's what I've got, and feel free to add anything if you've got any comments or additions.
Did, JP, did you join with Crystal on that call? I had missed it, but.
Yeah, but we needed all of us. Well, it was just me and Crystal, so
Yeah.
we need to reschedule, basically, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll have to.
Which is,
follow
that's
up.
okay, yeah. And maybe if we can't find a time, we can put it all on a doc and throw our ideas around.
Okay,
that
because
way,
I thought
feel
I had
free to-
emailed it out, my comments to everybody, but maybe
Oh,
just
right,
to.
you did, yeah.
But, okay, we'll reschedule.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other topics that are, I don't see in the top 12, I see tier 2 has 2. Is there a tier 3? Was there even lower tiers than that?
No, that tier 2 was the lowest tier.
And then maybe I missed it as we scrolled through because there was no red action on it. Was there anything to do with multi-unit housing? I thought we had approved to have in our work plan, but at a very low level of effort at this point.
For the potential no smoking ordinance, it's
it's-
project number 13.
I see it now. Thanks. It just didn't read the way my mind expected it to, but I understand it. It's there. Thank you.
All right.
I had, sorry, one, I guess I could do it now with the native plant policy. I have been talking with Self-Realization Fellowship about some of their land management approaches. They get notices from the city saying that they are in violation of city and county fire regulations. And so they have some native plants on their land, and in response to getting those notices, they just raise everything, including the natives. And it's really hard to see, and it's kind of been happening for the last few years now, and that's also a reason that they just completely raise their fields as well. They just don't want to get any hassle from the city, and they don't really, so I've been talking with Crystal and Councilwoman Lyons, and there, I think, is an opportunity maybe for the Environmental Commission to kind of maybe think through some ways to, I don't know if we could actually change the fire abatement policy, but maybe just the way that those notices are sent out so that landowners are kind of understand what is in violation and what's not in violation. It turns out for this one particular example, it wasn't the living plants that were in violation, it was the dead stuff, but they didn't know that, so they just raised everything, included the living natives. So that's kind of in development, and I think Crystal has, she's going to contact some city staff to see a way that we can maybe engage in that.
I had a piece of clarification, because for street stewards, since we're leading this up, we have 3 people on the commission that are captains. But then I wasn't sure with the Brown Act, like, if JP comes and there's 4 commissioners, is that like a violation? I mean,
Yeah.
okay, as long as we're, okay. I mean, I just recall from the initial training, if more than 3 captains get together, or commissioners get together, there could be something, but maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just want to clarify.
Right. You can all still attend the same event. You just can't, like Carol said, you can't conduct business. So you can't talk about any items that are
On the work plan.
on the work plan
Okay.
or coming up for discussion at the Environmental Commission. But your Street Stewards is not a city sanctioned event, and you would be attending as you just have to be cognizant of your commissioner hat and just not wear it while you're there, and not discuss
Okay.
anything. So, and then you're fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I see if we're going to make a motion to add people, if anybody's interested in that native plant policy, to give it more gusto. Looks like we're short one person, if you love plants.
Yeah, let me go over the calendar and then you can make your motion. So to wrap it up here, so this is the commission calendar that we take a peek at monthly. And I will just go to the things that are upcoming. So we're currently in December. So you do have some items here that would need to be worked on. So again, I already mentioned to initiate the environmental awards program. The awards are typically awarded in February, March, April sometime. So keep that in mind when you are working on the press release. And then Environmental Commission recruitment starts here, depending on what, so this is something that the city clerk will initiate. So nothing that the commissioners need to do necessarily, but just to be aware that if any terms are terming out, then you'll get notified by the city clerk. And if you did want to reapply, then that would be the time. And then I'll just mention what's coming up in the next month, which is January, February timeframe. The council interviews for the Environmental Commission award applicants, or sorry, that's not for the award. This is for the interviews for the commission applicants would be done during this time, depending on when they agendize it. And then in March, I'll just finish out with March. That's when the selected new commissioner terms would begin. And then at that time, a new chair and vice chair would be appointed for the one-year term. So that's what to look out for on the horizon, and I'll leave it at that. And then
Do you know specifically which of our seats may be
I
up
haven't
for-
looked, but the information is readily available on the websites if you want to take a peek and see where you're at.
I just took a look and nobody's term is expiring.
Oh, okay. So then this won't be happening, even though I just walked through it. So yeah, it's just on this. This is kind of like a running calendar of what may be happening each year. So not certainly, but just things to be aware of. So yeah. Thanks, Maria. Okay, so with that, I think this wraps up the item, and you are welcome to make a motion.
Okay. I can make a motion that we approve the work plan after we make a couple of changes, which includes JP being added to which commission? Subcommittee, sorry?
Scoop.
Scoop.
Same,
Yes.
item 7, I believe.
Yeah. And I think I'll maybe hold off on joining just in case our new commissioner might want to join that one, unless anyone else would like to be on the scoop. Okay. So, okay, that's my motion. Does anyone want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Crystal. Okay, and no commissioner-initiated action agenda items, and any other updates on items of interest? Okay, we got it out. Yeah?
Oh, I just wanted to say, today is National Poinsettia Day. I think we need to recognize it in Encinitas. It's a very important plant in Encinitas. And then I have a question for Crystal about the mature tree ordinance. Do you know anything about? I had it on my calendar that it was going to be going to the city council on December 18th. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe you might be right in that. I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I believe I did see that it was going to council soon. It could very well be the 18th.
And is there a draft of the mature tree ordinance?
If it's going on the 18th, then the draft would be attached to the agenda. If you want, I can look really quick so we know. So I believe the agenda for the 18th might not be out yet. Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry about that. Here it is. Looks like it might not be there, but it is coming up soon, so maybe it's early January.
Oh,
I'm not
so-
seeing it on this, but just double check. I just did a quick search for the keyword mature, and I didn't see it come up on the agenda, but I could have missed something, so yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and take a look at that.
And I do have one update if you're done with that topic. And that is, it's kind of neat from a couple of different angles. There are 55 murals, beautiful ones on the side of buildings from Lacoste Avenue all the way into Cardiff. And so from a couple of different silos, we're working on trying to get this out to where people could take guided tours or self-led tours. And it's all coming together at the same time from the 101s, the chamber, the art guilds, the historical society. The tourism boards are very excited about it. And so it looks like something's being put together to where people either on an app or on a website or a trifold will have locations where these murals and other artworks and the mosaics and things to be able to get out of their cars and walk, get on a bike, enjoy all these murals, shop, eat, and do things in Encinitas that could be fun and benefit the environment by not driving to all of them. So it's finally getting some traction.
I just wanted to note one thing kind of related to one of the items in the climate action plan is that we have 4 brand new fast EV chargers, public, on the kind of corner of Encinitas and El Camino Real behind Garden State Bagels and Solana Center, kind of right there. Yeah, it's a little hidden, but yeah, it's a good thing for us without garages.
And if you don't mind me adding to that, that was a site that was required to install those based on the local reach codes that we have here in Encinitas. So they had done a big remodel there, and that triggered the requirement to install EV charging stations. And so that's why they got added. So, yeah.
I think 4, and they're like the super, super fast ones, like faster than what we have right here even. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how many amps?
I think they're 150 kilowatt.
I think
these
they
are
might be 350.
Oh, 350
At least one
then.
of them I thought was
Oh,
a
there you go.
350. So that's
Yeah.
like 7 times faster than the ones down here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really fast.
Excuse me there. I don't mean to cut anyone off. Do we have any future commissioner-initiated agenda items? Okay, and with that, I think we'll adjourn. Thanks, everyone.